5, 4,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Arkosaurs Evolved. Here we talk about animals in the real world and how they've been imported into the magical video game world that is Ark Survival Evolved.
We're not on
Sometimes they
Lion
do it
Plurion
well.
yet.
Not yet. Sometimes they do it well, sometimes not so much. And today, we have a creature that's a little bit of a mixed bag. But before we get to that, we should probably introduce ourselves. I am Dr. Dino, not an actual doctor, but I am a fossil preparator, and maybe soon I can add something else to that title. To my right is...
I am Gojira. I am an incoming master's student preparing to go to the University of Bristol.
And next is...
I am Dino Dom, or Dominic Peary. I am the current vertebrate fossil preparator intern at Harvard's Museum of Comparative Zoology. And by the time, and when this video comes out, I will have started my first proper training.
Oh, that sounds like fun. Glad to hear it.
Yes.
And together we are... the Boneheads.
The Boneheads!
And someday we may actually be in sync.
No, we won't.
It's part of the fun.
Don't lie to them.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's how we do things.
Yeah. We are literal boneheads doing our best in the world.
Yeah, our name.
Oh, dear. Well, at any rate, shall we meet the creature du jour?
We shall.
Or I guess, actually, Dino du jour would be the proper way to introduce it.
Probably.
Well, as decreed by the wheel, today, I actually don't need to go into ghost mode because these things are tiny.
Yeah.
This week, we have Kentrosaurus aethiopicus. I think it actually has the real species name in the game, doesn't it?
It does,
It does, yes.
Which is weird for Ark. Like, very weird.
Yeah, it's uncommon for Ark, but
it's like,
I don't know.
Like the T-Rex isn't Rex. It's like
T-Rex
T-Dominum or something.
It's Dominatum, I believe.
Right.
We'll look at that when we get to the awful design that is the Ark T-Rex.
It's not awful, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Hashtag we'll get to it.
Instead, we have a very cute, kind of, but accurately sized stegosaur, which surprised at least a few of us right before recording that this is probably the right size. It might be a bit less.
It's a bit big.
A bit more. Well, the spikes are a bit big, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, when I was preparing for one of our previous videos, I realized
why is your first Ingram
there's a way
rifle?
we can tell. Huh?
Why was your first Ingram a pistol?
I don't know what you're talking about. oh, sorry. That's one of the mods I have installed. That's S+.
Why do you think the dinosaurs are so well behaved?
Is it a special tool that will help us later?
Exactly. But I realized we can use wooden foundations or other building things to figure out the size of creatures. See if they're accurately sized. Now that said, I don't know how big the foundations are.
Yeah. Well, we can probably
if one of you wants to Google that. I'm guessing they're like 2.5 meters.
Let me figure that out as a quick, definitely not Google on the phone.
Also, these things have a pretty tight turn radius, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, they were pretty agile.
But at the same time, not surprising considering what they are, which we will get into a bit later.
With their lifestyle.
Okay, its head's over the side, but
they are 3 by 3 meters.
3 meters. Okay, so
It's
One,
like 6
two, a
meters.
little bit over 2. Yeah, just over
Yeah,
6 meters, which
Yeah.
it's a little big, but not by
Yeah.
much.
Like,
not by much now.
yeah.
But yeah, going forward, I'll actually build up a proper like sizing thing we can use, so we're not just guessing with everything. But hey, good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Now, Gojira, would you like to introduce us to the history of these little
Oh,
these little
before
men
we
of
do that, we have
speckiness?
its name, the most
Yes.
important thing.
Yes, it is.
This is Kentrosaurus Ethiopicus, which is a really funny name. It's the prickle lizard from Ethiopia, despite it not being discovered in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm. It was actually
No.
discovered in Tanzania in what is called the Tendaguru Formation, which was roughly equivalent to the Morrison Formation of North America in geologic age during the late Jurassic.
Hmm. An area which we have mentioned before, as there appears to have been some sort of allosauroid in the area as well.
I shut that down
Allegedly.
before we started that conversation real fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to
Allegedly.
say wrong in doing that.
Like, maybe was an Allosauride, maybe it was an early Carcharodontosaurid, who knows?
But aren't
It
allosaurids,
is one bone.
aren't they the same thing? Wait, am I dumb? Aren't allosaurids early Carcharodontosaurs anyway?
Okay. Carcharodontosauroid. Sorry, Carcharodontosaurids are allosauroids, but not all allosauroids are Carcharodontosaurids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're a little more.
yeah, but yeah, that's right. But yes, that's a great segue into phylogeny.
Well, maybe first we should go over how we do have more than one bone of Kentrosaurus.
Oh, yeah, we do. So, yes, this was discovered in an expedition by Germany to the Tendaguru in 1909, led by the German paleontologist Werner Jenensch. I think I butchered that pronunciation, but they recognized the specimens as stegosaur like in 1910, and they were described by the German paleontologist Edward Hennig in 1915.
Edvin Hennig.
Edwin,
How do you spell the first guy's name?
uh, Werner W.
I do know German actually.
Oh yeah, Werner Werner, Jenisch,
Hmm.
Janensch.
Oh, okay. Vena Janich.
Janich. Yeah, I have got to learn more German since I'm of German descent.
Is this Spaß?
Yeah,
Anyway, named by Edvin Hennig.
Edwin Edwin Hennig. There have been several specimens. I'm not entirely sure, like, it doesn't quite say where the first fossils were found, but we do have some material discovered in association with Kentrosaurus, including a nearly complete tail, hip, several vertebrae, dorsal vertebrae, and some limb elements of a individual. That and an endocast of the sacral ganglion and brain.
Okay.
Yeah, brain
To
case is
translate
really
that to
good.
English, for folks, and I'm just using this as a pointer. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We have tail vertebrae. We have some back vertebrae, some limb elements, and it sounds like we have the hip. Now, for those who don't know, well, actually, maybe folks have heard that Stegosaurus, this guy's a larger, more famous relative, had a second brain in its hip. Not quite. So, viewer, if you're a vertebrate, if you have a backbone, not everyone does, but if you have a backbone, then you also have a neural cord. That is a
Yes.
spinal cord. Now, the spinal cord is mostly just a cord. Think like a wire, something you plug into a wall. But it does enlarge in some places where neurons can connect and fire off and produce, or sorry, where they can interpret inputs and produce outputs. The most obvious one is in the brain,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have an enlargement near the base of all of your limbs. So humans have one in the upper chest and in the hips, and so do these guys. And it's just an extra bundle of nerve sensors to help move things around.
We also, by the way, have quite a bit of the skull and a complete brain case of Kentrosaurus.
Oh, that's pretty
Indeed, we
nice.
do.
Huh. I'm curious if that's been studied.
Um,
Mm,
it was shown in lateral view. Sorry, we had
yeah,
two complete brain cases. Um,
though some taphonomic destination.
yeah, but I don't know if it's been
Oh,
studied
so
or
it
not.
was
I
like
don't
squished after
do
burial.
ornith. Yeah, there is this. Yeah,
Mm.
but it's more
Yeah,
than
but overall,
nothing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we have a
overall,
decent amount of it actually.
yeah, and we know that it was similar in shape to stuff like Twitchungosaurus, Huayangosaurus, and Stegosaurus, even.
Hmm. Which we now know that Stegosaurus wasn't as much of an oddball of the group as we thought.
Yeah,
Smaller than Stegosaurus by quite a bit.
Though that said,
yeah.
I think this guy is a bit too heavily built, but we can get into that later.
Yes, I will get into that.
Um,
But yeah,
Go ahead.
no. I was just I ignore my ramblings.
Yeah, words.
Okay. Well, we know what this thing's name is, where it was found, but what it is a stegosaur. I
Mm-hmm.
know, absolutely mind blowing. Uh,
It
but let's start
pooped.
from the beginning. Yeah,
Egad.
they huge, huge turds for their size. Viewer, you may recall in our first episode, we looked at Allosaurus. Allosaurus is a saurischian, which is one of the major groups of dinosaurs. The lineage Allosaurus is part of leads to the theropods, like Allosaurus itself, and sauropods. The other lineage are the ornithischians, and that group is, well, most of the other plant eating dinosaurs you've heard of, with a few rare exceptions. Now, the ornithischians can be split up in a bunch of different ways, but there's one group in particular that decides to really armor up starting in the early Jurassic. And by the late Jurassic, when these guys lived, they're just tanks. Like the plates and spikes are exaggerated on this model, but I'll show up a skeletal here and a more conservative restoration. They're still super spiky. And
Yeah,
frankly, I would not want to be anywhere near these things.
yeah. It appears that I missed you mentioned the Thyreophrenae as well.
Did I say Thyreophrin? I can't remember if
I
I
don't
said the group
I
name.
don't know if you did.
Sorry. Yeah, the armored group are the Thyreophrins. They lead to Stegosaurs and Ankylosaurs. Stegosaurs get spiky with large vertical plates, mostly. Ankylosaurs get horizontal plates embedded in the skin and get spiky in a different way.
My
Mm-hmm.
fear of
Yeah,
osteoderms. But
that and
yeah,
some of them kind of get the big hammer clubs.
yes.
True.
It does appear that Thyreophrins do tend to, even if their armor is all different, they do tend to weaponize their tails in different
Mm,
ways. Stegosaurs tend to do it all in the same way of a thagomizer, which is the coolest name for anything in science ever. De- you may debate me. You will be wrong.
yes,
Sh- should we save that for Stegosaurus or should we explain it here?
It's here. Might
let's.
as well.
Yeah, might as well.
That's
So,
fair.
ooh, can I
Yeah.
explain it?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, please. I was going to ask who would take it.
So basically, there was this comic strip called The Far Side, which is basically it was made by Gary Larson, and it has very surreal humor. Like it's based on like satire, social situations, stuff like that. And in 1982, there was a little strip of The Far Side which had a bunch of cavemen like going at going over Stegosaurus and looking at his tail spike, and one of the cavemen, which was the teacher, said, and I quote, "Now this end is called the thagomizer, after the late Thag Simmons." And paleontologists, when they first saw it, they just thought, yeah, why not? We'll call it that. And it
But we
was,
don't have a name for it.
yeah,
May
it
as
was
well.
officially added into the vernacular of paleontology.
It's one of
Yeah,
the
which
coolest names. Most scientific jargon I hate, especially being the only member of the Boneheads who doesn't have a formal education. So jargon really isn't my cup of tea. So
Mm,
it's why a Thagomizer I really like. But to continue,
yeah.
Ankylosaurs tend to do weird things. They tend to either make chains. I say chainsaws. They tend to make basically interlocking almost spikes, clubs, or some of them make a word that I can't pronounce. But if you want to know, look at like Stegoros and stuff. They make. I think it's a Makwahiti. I can't say
uh,
Aztec words.
Maquahital, something like that,
Yeah.
Makwahidal. Thank
or
you.
Maquat.
Yeah,
Maquat,
something
I
like
think it.
that. But it is very strange that even sauropods sometimes do this. It's weird that
Mhm.
these creatures make a sort of they tend to weaponize their tails.
Yeah, and it's weird, but I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And stegosaurs decide to turn half their body into spears and half their body into a massive display structure. Which, I
Yeah.
mean, like, is
Two
there
birds, one
another?
stone.
I mean, other interpretations have been made, like, oh, maybe it helped them warm up in the morning or cool off during the day, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on what era you're talking about. In modern times, I think we've pretty much settled on they're a huge display feature. Like they're a
Yeah.
billboard to show how healthy you are, which
That and yeah.
is a common interpretation of big and dumb structures, but also seems to hold true a lot in living animals.
Yeah. Because, like, a general rule of thumb is if there's a structure that looks weird or out of place, it's probably for display. It's probably for, like, courting mates.
hmm Especially if it's metabolically expensive.
Very
Um,
expensive.
as Dom can attest, having researched so much into osteoderms, they're expensive to make, especially when they're huge and ornate.
Yes.
So if you're eating enough calories to grow those structures, you probably got some good genes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry about the quick thing. I just got an email from Harvard. I return now.
oh wow,
Look,
you say that so casually.
look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Hey,
I'm the only member. I'm the only member who doesn't have a degree. I just got an email from Harvard.
I'm sweating more than a non-legacy applying to Yale.
hey, just because I found a way to get experience without paying tuition doesn't mean you are allowed to make fun of me.
Yeah, you're right. We have many other reasons to make fun of you, but we'll
Correct.
cross that out.
Um,
But yeah.
Speaking of ways to make fun of Dom, would you like to explain what jargon is? Because we've kind of just been
Oh,
throwing that word around, like
yeah, I
jargon.
will. Jargon is basically you might hear us say this often, especially when it comes to bones. It's any of the words that you don't use. So, for example, this is head, a skull. You don't call it a cranium, a maxilla, premaxilla, or orbit. You don't
Dentary.
call it, yeah, yeah, dentary. You don't call it those things. Jargon is just a scientific term for a place to be more, for a thing to be more specific.
hmm
Most of the time, science jargon it is helpful, but there are some times when it's not. And some scientists, I don't know any who do, but I have heard of some scientists, especially in our field and just in the biological and zoological fields in general, tend to use it a bit more often. without it kind of explaining what it means.
Mhm.
Like macroorganismal biologists are the only ones that I've seen not do it, but paleontologists have a really paleontologists and especially paleo enthusiasts have a really
Mhm.
bad habit of using jargon without explaining what it
So,
means.
We should
so
know. We are.
fun fact, or sorry, really quick fun fact. So for those who don't know, I do have a degree in geology. I had to take a lot of geology courses, including structural geology, which is like
Oh
how
gosh.
rocks
Oh
change and
God,
deform underground.
that sounds.
I
Well,
am.
the funny thing
I have.
is, like, well, half of the jargon for structural geology I learned is just French words for foods.
Yeah.
Well, of
Kind of
course,
is.
obviously.
Like
Yeah.
a boudinage translates to sausage, and I'll throw up a picture here. Sometimes rocks squeeze into shapes and they just look like big sausages,
Like yeah, they do. Like
and we just call it that.
I have bad memories of structural geology, and I can attest to that.
It was fun, but the jargon was hard to get used to.
Very hard.
Uh, anyway, was one of you trying to segue into something? I'm sorry if I cut you off.
Oh, oh
No.
no. Like I was gonna say, like we should know because we're paleo enthusiasts. They use a lot of jargon without explaining it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I think it's got especially bad, and it's probably going to get especially bad in a bit, like next year, because this is the first video that we are recording after the announcement of Walking with Dinosaurs season 2. Um,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and I guarantee when we start getting trailers for that, it's gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
real bad. Tends to
Yeah.
happen around Paleodocs or Jurassic. Oh, I just
Yeah.
realized we're getting a Jurassic Park movie. Next year's gonna be awful for this.
Yeah, but I mean Gareth Edwards.
Hey, by awful you mean we might be making money off of it, so
Yeah.
shh.
Well, Gareth Edwards is directing it, and
I,
that gives me
I,
a bit of
hey,
hope.
I, I'm just saying the jargon will be awful. I love that Jurassic. Also, I don't get paid. I'm an unpaid intern. I don't get paid. You guys get the money from the Jurassic Park movie. I get nothing.
I Well, okay, you say okay.
No.
Viewers, like, subscribe, and all that. Maybe eventually Dom can get paid a little bit, and he won't be.
You're funny.
Lord knows he
Maybe
needs it.
eventually we will pay Dom.
Yes.
Eventually,
Maybe
I
we will feed him.
now, but yes, he'll feed me only lemons. But yeah, it does. Don't know the joke we're making around the time of very popular, of very well made dinosaur documentaries and especially Jurassic Park movies. There tends to be
Mhm.
a rise in people applying for positions. For example, all of us kind of fall under the Jurassic World. Oh, I'm off center. The Jurassic World crop of paleontologists. We grew up with
Uh,
Jurassic World and
mm,
the tail end of the.
Like
no. I'm part of the Jurassic
Oh,
Park crowd.
yeah, I'm definitely Jurassic
yes,
Park.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm Jurassic World
I
technically.
think I'm older than both of you.
Yeah,
You're both older than
I'm
me. For the
I'm a
most part.
99. Yeah, I'm a
2000.
99 kid, so I was very much a yeah, I was very much a
Oh
Jurassic
wait,
Park and Walking with Dinosaurs kid.
you're 99. I'm 2001. I thought you were born after. I thought you were younger than
Nope,
me.
I'm 24. I'm the oldest of all of us.
I'm
Oh, well, I
2003.
have to rescind a
I'm
joke
a
I made in the
baby.
last video.
Back in my day, these documentaries actually had the guts to use jargon.
Yeah.
Oh
But
dear.
yes, I
Well,
am technically
let's see.
the crop.
Uh, oh, whoops.
Oh, don't punch him. You might get stuck in
Ignore
it with
that.
the spike.
Wait, actually, did I? No, I didn't get hurt from that.
No,
Um, but
well,
we'll
you
get
are
into that
mortal.
later.
But yeah, yes, to finish what I was saying before I lagged out, most, especially museums, but especially like colleges with paleontology, tend to get a museums and schools tend to get donations, more funding, or from either like alumni or the government, basically because our science is funded on because dinosaur cool. That's it.
Yeah,
It-
and I actually
Yes.
I can speak to this as someone who has been drumming up funding for an expedition. Which actually I don't think I've mentioned that on the channel yet, so I'll mention it here. I'm going on an expedition this summer, actually in just a couple of weeks, and actually I think I start. Yeah, I think this episode will come out just before it begins.
Sweet.
Anyway, I'm going out to Wyoming to find some dinosaur bones. Whenever a popular movie or documentary comes out that features dinosaurs, just donations surge, and like everyone goes to visit the museum because they're reminded that they exist. It's massive for everyone involved. It's really
yeah.
important.
Yes. Ghosts again. It's why I'm going to reiterate something that I heard. Even if you do not like the Jurassic movie that is coming out because you are a paleo nerd and pedantic as hell, and I
Hmm.
have promised not to swear that much. Um, go see it. Its existence helps your future. I can confirm. Without it, a lot of people wouldn't have jobs, and without them, the paleontological career would have probably died. The dinosaur renaissance probably happened because of is it Renaissance? No, the stuff starting to what was in the 90s. That wasn't the Renaissance. What was that?
Well, the Renaissance started in the
Yeah.
70s.
It was. I thought it was the '60s.
I thought it was the 60s
Like with
too.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
late 60s.
yeah, with John
But
Ostrom and
but
Lucas.
before you go on, I can think of maybe another potential reason why the dinosaur renaissance may have started, but we'll get to that eventually.
Yes, but
Foreshadowing.
yeah, but
Foreshadowing is a
in
literary device.
in the 90s there was a massive resurgence in paleontological digs, especially out of the U.S. This is
Yes.
when a lot of the South American digs started, and we got Amargasaurus, Giganotosaurus, which we'll get to later, Argentinosaurus, all the big stuff from South America. I believe we started going back to Africa again, and that's where we got things
I.
like Sarcosuchus.
Yep.
That's when a lot of the feathered dinosaurs started to appear, like
Yeah,
Sinosauropteryx, and
Yes.
big
and,
important stuff from China.
yeah,
Yes.
and that's basically probably mostly because of Jurassic Park, like full stop.
It is 95% because of Jurassic Park.
If not
Yeah.
97, or should I
So,
say
Um,
93%?
maybe, sorry, maybe speaking of Jurassic Park, while Kentrosaurus has not shown up in any of the movies, as far as I know,
oh
it
no,
has been in a Jurassic Park property. Maybe this
it's
will be a
Seven.
been in
transition into its appearances in other media.
Ooh,
yes. It
yes.
Oh, do you want to take the Camp Cretaceous?
As the
I wasn't
resident,
talking about that one. I wasn't talking about that
as
one.
Oh,
too
I
late, too
was.
late. As the resident Camp Cretaceous critic of the group,
Critics, a very undermined word for what you are to the show.
indeed,
Oh dear.
in the fourth season of Camp Cretaceous, it featured a Stegosaurus, which, when you look at the model, like, it's pretty got reasonable coloring, but it is like way too big.
You
And
said
it's very much
Stegosaurus, not
like, yeah,
Kentrosaurus.
yeah, it's like a Stegosaurus with Kentrosaurus plates like glued on it. But that isn't the that isn't the only piece of Jurassic Park media it was attached to. There was also the Evolution games, which had Kentrosaurus, and Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, which,
Ah,
if you ever played Operation
Mhm.
Genesis, you'll know that they are the most scaredy cat herbivores in the game. You put
they're
any
Okay,
adorable.
other. Oh, yeah.
but hear me out, Gojira. I love them, and
Oh,
They're
they're
yeah. I love
adorable.
adorable,
them
and
too.
I would
I
die
love
for
them
them.
too. Oh, yeah. I love them too. It's just that if you put anything else in their paddock with them, they will panic and just swing their tails around and kill everything out of the panic.
Well, I assume
Anything
that's
except
probably
Stegosaurus, I think. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah,
assume that's
Stegosaurus would
probably
be
how
accepted.
these things operate. Um,
Yes.
Kentrosaurus is very
And
good, but yes.
Yes. And outside of Jurassic Park, there's also it featured in both Zoo Tycoon and Zoo Tycoon 2, which Zoo Tycoon 2's Kentrosaurus has probably my favorite color patterns for any Kentrosaurus.
Just
Like the
neon blue.
yes, it is so the colors are so good. And there wasn't in Dinosaur Train?
Every dinosaur in existence
Yeah.
is probably in
Yeah, that's
Dinosaur
fair. Dinosaur.
Train.
It was
So,
probably in Dinosaur Train. And what was that? I think there was one more thing that it was. Yes, it was also in Ice Age 3 of all things.
oh yeah, that's a
Really?
Kentrosaurus, not a
Oh yeah.
Stegosaurus. Yeah,
Even though
yeah.
it has the neck of a Miragaia, basically.
No, it has the neck of a noodle.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like it looks like spaghetti noodle on a Kentrosaurus body.
Yeah, but
Well,
no,
I have
yes,
just seen the Zoo Tycoon one for the first time, and I like that design.
it's
Yeah.
quite nice. A lot of the Zoo Tycoon dinos are really good. I wish I
Yeah.
was able to play Zoo Tycoon 2 very often, but I never got the chance.
It
Forward
is
to
one of
the
my
game.
childhood games. Like
Yeah.
we'll put like pictures on the screen for both Zoo Tycoon and Zoo Tycoon 2 Kentrosaurus. And
Very,
Oh
very
yeah, I
good.
honestly,
got that.
yeah, I love the skins on the Zoo Tycoon 2 Kentrosaurus. It's just so appealing.
Wait, does this thing have external ears? Or,
It has
Does it?
visible ears.
It has like yeah, it's like they
uh,
look
uh,
orange.
well, the thing is the color. I for a second
Yeah.
thought because it looks orange, I thought that was an external ear, and I was gonna scream.
Oh
Mhm.
no.
Let me
The design isn't that
here we
bad.
go. Zoom in. Yeah, it's
It,
just an
it,
orange blotch
the design.
on the
We
eye.
should probably mention the design and
Well,
maybe even.
we have a little bit of information to get into before then.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
their lifestyle.
lifestyle.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Who
that
wants
that's
to take?
important, probably.
So, Kentrosaurus, much like all other stegosaurs, are herbivores. And specifically, we believe that they may have been low level browsers, kind of like black rhinos of today, eating like low growing fruit and low tree branches. And there's even been talks of maybe it may have been able to rear up on its hind feet to reach like higher vegetation because its center of mass was it was like close to the back legs, and when you have your center of mass close to the back legs, you can do a lot. You can actually like stand yourself up pretty well. That's how we once we get to the forbidden croco duck with a sail, that is the way we found out that yeah, even with all the redesigns, it may have still been able to be bipedal, but
Mhm.
that's been kind of a
Eldritch
debate.
creature.
I mean, you
Yes,
could have just brought up Iguanodon.
Yeah,
Iguanodon has that
iguanodon
too.
that
too.
would have been a better
Yeah,
one than
but
the Eldritch Abomination.
the Eldritch Abomination is funnier.
You're right. Comedy is supreme.
Thank you
Um,
very much. I'm
well,
here till
let's
Thursday.
see. If we've run out of stuff to say about the real life Kentrosaurus,
I mean,
should we read out its dossier entry?
I actually do have,
Oh,
there is some like lifestyle stuff. Like there is some evidence
Oh,
of,
sorry.
oh, I was gonna say like looking at the femurs, like the proportions of the femurs, we
oh
may
yeah.
have
This
evidence that may have been sexually dimorphic.
it's at least two body morphs,
Yeah,
which doesn't mean sexually dimorphic, as we
yeah,
have basically no evidence of sexual dimorphism. It's very hard to prove sexual dimorphism in extinct creatures. Even in
yeah,
things we have a lot of data for, like mammoths, it's hard
yes,
to fully prove. Never mind
yeah,
dinosaurs, where we have like five.
yeah.
Hmm.
And
So
much like all other stegosaurs, like Doc said earlier, they use their big tail spikes for defense, and they may have been pretty effective with those tails.
Probably.
we
Yeah,
actually talked
Actually,
about
we
how
do know at least some were
yeah.
very effective.
we
But
talked
we'll
about
get to
this
that
with
with
the
stegosaurus.
Allosaurus. No, we actually talked about this in the Allosaurus episode.
Oh yeah,
Do it? Oh,
Yeah, we did.
I have
yeah. We mentioned the pubis injury.
right.
Yeah.
But the example of why Allosaurus just will not die.
If you want, and you haven't seen it, which is surprising, as it's for some reason quite a popular video for a channel with a
Yeah,
small amount of
of this
subscribers, go
caliber.
watch our Allosaurus video.
Yeah, you can check it out
Yeah.
if you want to see me threaten to do this.
Okay, then.
That is classic.
Doc's need for senseless violence will never be quelled.
Yep.
No.
We all have our. No, don't
Got
do
the
it.
gun again!
It must
No,
appear
Doc.
once an
No, Doc.
episode.
No, Doc, he was my Kentrosaurus. I'll do it.
I'll do it.
That's an old movie reference,
Oh,
kids.
dear.
Go watch Of Mice and Men. Read it. It's a good book.
No, that was Old Yeller.
Yeah, that was an old Yeller.
Oh, no,
Of
you're
Mice
right.
and Men is Look at the Rabbits, George.
You're right.
Yes.
Sorry,
Look at the
I'm
rabbits,
mixing up
lady.
my. I'm mixing
rest
up
my
my
case.
executions. Excuse me.
Apparently, you need to be over 25 or over 24 over to get that reference. So,
Hey, I got the reference. I mixed up my movies.
Yeah.
man.
Well, at any rate, maybe instead of movies, then we should
Why
transition
is
to books.
no? Before we
Specifically,
move on, I'm gonna stomach
Hmm?
on this. You don't get to choose. Why is this
Oh no.
the one that we get stuck on about old timey movies and age? Why is it Kentrosaurus?
because it looks like a dinosaur that would be in a 40s movie about a boy and his pet dinosaur,
Does
pet
it?
dog.
Does it?
I mean, he'd be a good defense
Me?
mechanism for farms with those spikes.
I
Yeah, I
guess.
can attest to that, but we'll probably get into that in game. Also, I'm just
Yeah, which
loading
I will
here.
get into. You know what? That's a good enough segue for me. Oh yeah, we'll read out to dossier now. Probably, I'm not the one doing that, so I don't know why I interrupted. But
Should
yay,
should I, since it's a dinosaur?
Yes.
yeah, go
Take your
ahead.
best
let
We
me-
should probably keep
let
this
me-
up for a
Let me
bit.
pull it up. What voice should I do?
For Kentrosaurus,
I
what do
mean,
you
do like
think this creature sounds like if you stare into its soul?
Well, I mean, it was discovered by a German guy. I could do a German accent.
Sure, that can only
Go
end
for it.
well.
Hey, my German accent's not the absolute worst.
No, it's
We
my
shall see.
Scottish, but that means nothing.
I mean, British
I'm
accent.
not even sure I
isn't
want to know
that
what you
bad
just
either.
said there.
Yeah, you Scots are always getting into our business.
Well, then stop getting it off potatoes.
I think there's a tiny Allosaurus in the dossier.
Oh, that's nice.
Is there? Oh yeah, there is, and it's getting the. Oh wait, I was gonna say
Oh,
like
no,
it
there's
looks,
Assuming it's
two.
getting impaled.
it is getting
One that's just
skewered.
speared.
It is
I
getting.
mean, yeah, I'm assuming it's getting impaled.
I believe this is what
Oh.
the you young people call getting wrecked.
Words were just spoken there, by the way. Words that were spoken.
Well, speaking of words spoken, while Kentrosaurus aesiopicus is considerably smaller than its close relative, Stegosaurus regium, it is much more formidable in matters of self-defense. In fact, it is arguably pound for pound champion of not only the Stegosaurus, but when encountered in close-knit fighting packs, ranks atop the island's herbivorous dinosaurs in general. Thanks to its wickedly sharp defensive spikes, any creature that attacks the Kentrosaurus is likely to be reversely wounded in turn, and it is capable of piercing even the thickest of hides and armors when it goes on the offensive. I have personally witnessed the Kentrosaurus fell much larger predators in such a single such impaling maneuver. Let's find the domesticated. Sorry, I'm reading from the dossier right now because sometimes the wiki leaves stuff out.
Yeah, we read from the wiki. The
Yeah.
wiki only has the tamed and domesticated sides, which it's not
Is not all the
great.
information.
No, it's not.
Mhm.
And
But
some of the
Anyway,
it's
information's
all we got.
fine.
underestimating Kentrosaurus can be a fatal mistake, particularly when it is in a herd. When traveling in numbers, Kentrosaurus seems to grow much more aggressive, increasing the range at which it will defend its territory. Domesticated. Survivors have seen little success in their attempts to ride Kentrosaurus, owing to its spikes and hard-headed temperament. However, a tame herd of Kentrosaurus can effectively defend a compound and take on larger carnivores. Once impaled by its attack, the Kentrosaurus slams the attacker on the ground continuously, helping to turn the tide of a pitched battle. Yeah, so it gives quite a description.
It does, and it kind of segues into how this thing is an arc. What? This is the only creature in Arc 2. I don't think it's the only one. I think a Margosaurus also does it, but it's one of the only creatures with a damage. Oh, Ceratosaurus also does it, because Ceratosaurus is a cannon creature now, with a hit back,
Hmm.
a Thorns effect, if you
Yes,
will.
damage
Yeah.
reflection,
Yes, we will get to
which
Ceratosaurus soon.
In a
I,
year,
I mean, personally,
maybe.
I think the damage reflection is pretty cool
No, it
and
is, and it makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe while we're
But the
while
other
we're
thing that
talking about
does,
it, I could take these guys out for a bit.
actually, that would be good to show off its other ability. The dossier mentioned it picks things up with its tail.
Hmm.
Stegosaurus also kind of does this, but it appears the Stegosaurus in general, um, Ark tends to do really funny things of making new creatures do funny things. And when Kentrosaurus was added, the main thing that was shown was that while you can't ride it, it will pick smaller things up in its tail by impaling them, and as said, slamming them repeatedly into the ground.
Yep. And don't mind me, I gotta dump all these gotcha crystals.
Why do you still have them?
What do you guys feel like? Kill them. Like show us like how powerful Kentro is
Mercy.
on them.
Yeah, kill the
There's
gotchas. That will
better
end well.
targets. Look, just because you hate the gotchas doesn't mean they have to die.
No,
Learn
it
to be
does mean that though.
tolerant.
I mean,
Tolerant? It's dumb.
Okay, well, at any rate, um, what else about their abilities should we go over?
hmm,
Well, that's the
Ooh, I see some
main gimmick.
raptors. That's perfect.
Ooh, that'll be perfect. Yeah, that's the main thing. They are angry. Oh, I forgot things that you aren't riding are immune to fall damage. Um,
should we go over
They
the?
are aggressive.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
really
yeah.
aggressive.
yes, very
Should
angry
we
creatures.
should we go over the enlarged plates and spikes?
That's
Probably a good idea.
probably also going to spec
The
you a
difference in
bit.
the anatomy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we mentioned in the Allosaurus episode, and we'll probably continue it to mention until basically until we finish Ark. The Ark map is tiny and very highly competitive, and a lot of the creatures, we've mentioned the kaiju-sized Giga, but even the Utaranus and the Rex and well, the Utahraptor, I believe they're Utahraptors, yeah. Those are really big
I think so.
predators that Kentrosaurus probably never dealt with. So, but yes, the predators Kentrosaurus
Harry?
never dealt with. So, with that, it just appears to be they evolved bigger defenses because they were meeting bigger predators. That's probably also where their angry temperament came from, because predators, if we ignore the game mechanic of murder everything, like, oh yeah, look,
Oh,
pick
there we
stuff up.
go.
Perfect. He's having a fun time. That was actually a perfect example. That's probably where their angry temperament comes from. It probably. Oh, is that a Kentrosaurus down there? Or is that a baby Stego?
Those are stegos.
It is a Kentro.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a Kentro. Yeah. It does appear that that's mostly just defense mechanism, because if we ignore the fact that Ark predators tend to murder everything because game mechanic, predators don't like to get hurt because that would be bad. They tend
Yes.
to go for the
Yeah.
quickest and easiest kill. Very few predators. I think the only predators that like don't go for quick, easy kills are what, canines. Canines are really brutal,
Yeah.
and
I
even
mean, like
then,
the fact that they're almost always in packs help even the odds quite a bit.
I mean, like, I mean,
exactly.
like African wild dogs, like
Oh,
they
those are
will eviscerate their prey and eat what they can while it's still alive because
yeah.
with so many other bigger predators around, they need to eat as much as they can before inevitably gets stolen.
Yeah, but bears
Hmm.
tend to bears just use their brute strength, but
Yeah.
big cats are the main one. If you've ever seen a thing like Planet Earth, not Earth, I can't speak. Big cats tend to kill one or two ways. Either they bite here, they bite through the jugular and hold it, or the other thing that I've seen them do is they bite over the nose and mouth and cover it with theirs. Um,
Hmm.
or a mix of both. Lions do this. Lions do both pretty often. So
Don't tigers also go for like the back of the neck, like to
tigers
paralyze?
are tigers are right here. Tigers
Jaguars
and
do that.
jaguars, yeah.
Yeah. And
Tigers and
jaguars go
jaguars are
for the
back there.
skull.
Oh
Oh,
my
they can pick up a
god!
Parasaurolophus.
Wait, I can actually.
They should.
He's having a fun time. But yeah, so that's probably why they're so short-tempered and aggressive. Because even a Giga, despite the fact that a Giga would probably, if we realify it, probably be able to kill one of these pretty easily. It probably one. Oh, and sorry, another thing. If you've ever been scared by a spider skidding across your room like you've jumped, there appears to be an innate fear response of something small running in front of you or being weirdly not scared of you. So, mix that with the fact of their bigger spikes. They tend to live in herds with even stegosaurs that are bigger than them. Um,
Hmm.
it probably deters a lot of predation, and they probably, like Darcy said, punch above their weight a lot more
Hmm.
often than they should.
Hmm.
And actually, in the arcs, they are built to punch above their weight. So we mentioned that they have damage reflection because of their spikes. The damage reflection is actually stronger the larger the attacker is compared to the Kentro,
Yeah,
which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
they can't pick up a Dodic. That's interesting.
So
Apparently,
if they pick a fight with a Giga, they won't like get one shot.
I
Well, they
don't know
make
if
it
they'd
one
get one
shot,
shot,
but the one shot
but
damage would all be transferred back to the Giga tenfold.
Ooh.
yeah. So they're
Which,
they're actually pretty good at
yeah,
defending.
Keyword
But
there being
also
defending.
they
yeah.
also get a pack bonus apparently.
Yeah?
It would be herd
I
bonus
think they're the
because
only herbivore with a pack bonus.
as of now, yes, they're again our conditions creatures are being added. The Dinotherium also is a pack bonus.
Ah, okay. Well, for
Yes.
anyone who doesn't play Ark, uh, if a pack bonus is when you have a large group of animals, the more animals you have, the more the members of the group get bonuses to their defense and attack.
Yeah.
And I think
Um,
Kentro caps out at 6 or 7,
I believe it's 6.
which
Oh,
is a pretty substantial defense increase.
actually, you know what else we should talk about because you mentioned it in the gotcha video, but never explained it. It's something in art called mate boosting, which if you have a creature of different genders, they get a boost to most
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
their stats.
Sweet.
And apparently, all of these ones are male, but
That's
they
very
still get the
I
unhelpful.
pack
mean,
bonus.
I mean, we don't judge here.
Charge! That poor Listro in the
Yep. Oh,
middle of
there it
this.
goes. Sorry, this is kind of fun.
Stroke. Run,
Oh my
run,
god.
little guy, run,
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 run little
Like
Listro,
th-
go!
run.
this might be kind of sadistic, but this is fun.
Oh, it's actually very entertaining. It's actually
Just
the
around and
most.
around it goes. When will it die? Nobody knows.
They take like it's like
Run,
doing
little
no
Listro.
damage. It's so funny.
Run,
Oh,
Listro.
Oh
One,
dear.
run.
run, little
No,
buddy.
don't
Well,
you dare.
maybe we should
Spare
talk
him.
about their changes from their real life counterparts.
I think
I
we
brought
already
up before
did.
that I think that they're. We brought up the spikes. I think
There. Oh
I'm not
yeah.
sure, but I think they're thicker than, like,
Yeah?
a little heftier than
Oh,
Kentrosaurus
yeah.
may have been. I'll have to
Their
double check
heads
the
positioned
skeletal.
in the wrong place. Well, how?
Yeah.
Because what stegosaurs are predicted to have their heads not in that weird downward sloping thing anymore, or am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, no, I think their heads are in an okay orientation. They're just too thick.
Yeah.
Oh, man, might be right.
Like,
And they get that
Spikes.
parrot beak.
actually, the like side to side, the body is about as thick as it probably should be, but the
Yeah.
head's pretty
Is
fat.
very
We'll have a
Yeah.
lot to talk about with the head.
Yeah, we will. Dinosaurs tend to be quite thin, actually. If you ever at a local museum, it's a really funny thing to just if you ever find like a skull or a skeleton, look at it head on. It will always be the funniest thing ever. Dinosaurs are
They're
really
will.
thin.
deceptively narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see,
Um,
maybe should we start at the back end or the front? I
I
guess
would say
that probably
back
be
because
best
we
to
have less to
pick.
say, and then we can rank it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it has a. I think the tail is kind of all right, but I feel if I'm correct, it should have more spikes, but smaller
It should be
spikes.
like,
Yeah.
it should be, let's see, counting the base
I think it's like one every two or three vertebrae.
Yeah.
a little. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. Trying to see how many spikes the real one has. Let's see. One, two,
I don't know
eight,
if we have
10,
all of the spikes, but
4. Like, like, yeah. Like the mounted skeleton in the Berlin Museum for Naturkunde
Natterkund.
Naturkund was about 14, and this one
yeah,
is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
6.
This is
Uh,
6.
6.
Oh, like
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Oh,
14 total or 14
yeah,
one side?
14 total.
oh, so it's not
Like
actually that
there's
bad.
Oh, so it's only 2 off. Never mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the spikes. I mean.
My issue with the spikes is that they appear to be like we. If you look at them from if you look to the side, they're very. Stegosaurus spikes tend
Yeah,
to not be that curved. They're not straight either,
yeah,
but
they tend to be
they
very straight.
don't they don't wiggle. Some of these
Yeah,
spikes do
Um,
the, do antler things and wiggle.
I would kind of contest that a little bit,
Oh,
because we're talking about changes from the real life version to the in-game version. Obviously,
huh?
their spikes are much bigger than they
Yes,
would be. They're hypertrophied, would be the more scientific term.
ah,
I
yes.
can believe that when they are small, they might be in a slightly different orientation, and that would induce a curve. We
huh,
see this
May
actually in Triceratops.
yes,
Triceratops horns
yeah,
are in a different orientation than the
yeah,
juveniles,
that could
and
be
that
it.
can make curvy horns.
yeah.
The,
But we will
the,
get to that when we get to Triceratops.
yes,
Yes, I'm just saying there is a
Yeah,
precedent for this.
yes.
Actually,
that's
these two pairs here really look like Triceratops horns. Actually,
they
Oh
do.
god,
Again, that probably yeah. It also is a bit
they look
weird
more
that
like.
I was gonna say every single Kentrosaurus
Oh,
has
you.
scars on their
They
hindquarters.
do. It's like the
yes,
exact
that
same scar patterns.
Yeah,
they also look like they have poop stains on their belly, which
yeah.
I'm not a
Our
massive fan of.
our colors are
Yeah,
weird. This
they're
is a
not the best
recurring
sometimes.
theme, actually. Most creatures in Ark, their
Um,
colors are not of a great variety. Aloe is like one of the only exceptions from the base game before any of the DLC.
um, I guess if we're moving up the body, how many toes should Kentrosaurus have on the rear feet?
Not well, they shouldn't look like the feet shouldn't look like that regardless, but Oh, those
It
look
should be
awful.
3
What the
touching the
fuck?
ground and 2 hanging, right?
Yeah, why do they look like that? Those are awful. Oh god. Those are almost
God.
theropod feet.
Oh boy.
That's not good.
Let me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a mounted skeleton.
Yep. 3 toes on the back feet.
Touching the
Oh,
ground.
it's yeah. Looking at
Yeah.
yeah, Museum for Naturkunde again.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, these don't look far off.
That's
Honestly,
ugly and awful. I hate it.
it is, but it actually
And
seems to be
yeah.
kind of accurate.
So it seems like Kentro feet were ugly to begin with.
Huh.
That shouldn't be a
Also, I
fact we have to
retract what I
say.
said about them being too fat bellied. They actually. Ah, sorry.
Yeah, I see.
I I have to click
Like,
the screen to get back into the game.
like,
But no,
Need
they
for
actually have an
senseless
appropriate torso.
violence.
They're appropriately thick for a Kentrosaurus.
Yeah. Their front feet
Um,
probably aren't correct though.
no.
no.
Their front feet should have 3 toes touching the ground and 2 hanging,
Yeah.
and only the
This is,
first 3 should have claws,
That
which
yeah.
should
is
be
what we see
thinner,
in every
right?
Arkosaur. Um, I mean,
Actually,
I
not.
should just pause it.
Yeah.
I other than the extra no, they should be thinner because this digit should be hanging off the ground. That would make them look thinner. And they shouldn't have a pad behind
No,
the front
that's the
foot
main
like
thing.
that.
It shouldn't be a term we'll be used often, especially when we get to some of the sauropods. They shouldn't be elephantine,
No.
which is
No.
the theme in mostly ornithischians and sauropods, where probably because of Jurassic Park, we tend to make
Mm-hmm.
the legs giant trunks because that's what elephants do. Dinosaurs didn't do
Yeah.
that, especially on their front feet, because dinosaurs, all of them started as bipedal, which is why a lot
Hmm.
of and most of them get quadrupedality separately, which is why you'll see a lot of most dinosaurs actually, we mentioned this as well, have their weight centered on their hips.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
why this except for ceratopsians, but that's because their heads are huge. Probably most stegosaurs and sauropods could probably actually rear on their. I think you mentioned this, rear back on their back legs, maybe.
Yeah. Like we're on there
Hmm.
at least for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Later ankylosaurs are actually another exception. Another exception. They get really rotund.
but yeah, but that's because that's a ball. That's an oval that decided to grow legs.
That was
They
an
are
oval.
pancakes.
It has to be a circle.
But yeah, is that
Well, we've
everything?
talked about the spikes. What do we think of the plates?
Way
I
too
like
tall.
them. I like them.
I'm not a fan.
They Oh, my light is broken, unfortunately. I just realized I can't pull it out.
Did you
Um
hit someone with it?
I Oh wait, I got a torch from the or well, I have a
From
lantern
the.
actually.
Oh, well, just use that. Why are my
Gonna
chickens
pop out your
screaming?
luck.
Looking at the plates, like they seem to have a really interesting structure.
Yeah, like
Like,
the last 2 pairs are like way bigger.
They also
well,
almost
I
look
would
like
more
they're
if you look
plates
on the
infused into
inside, like
plates.
it almost looks like they have growth rings.
They
Yeah,
do.
which I would probably say those probably aren't real growth rings. I would probably say that's just it looks like growth rings, but it's a display structure for patterning.
Yeah.
Maybe, or just I don't know.
It's weird.
It's interesting to me.
They
And
do have a
also,
very striking resemblance. Yeah,
I can. hmm. So this is dipping into spec-evo a bit, but I can believe that whatever mutation allowed the spikes to hypertrophy could affect their other osteoderms,
I
because
would
these are
ass-
all modified osteoderms.
I would completely agree with you. I'd actually say that's probably very likely.
Same.
Yeah, and then I mean, there's obviously a huge selection pressure for larger and sharper spikes.
Yeah.
if the plates are already a facet for sexual selection, I can see that being
Yeah.
huge for.
Right.
I could
Okay, I'm gonna
also
have to
I
mute
could
this, but I can see it being a huge for the ladies.
yes. I will say what Doc. This is in a cut or a pass to mute. As I will say what Doc just said more eloquently. I would also assume it might not just be for
Thank
the
you.
ladies, but probably very attractive for either gender to have big plates and big spikes. Hell, it might also be a thing. This is a bit more spec-evo that the scars are also so a Kentra with like not with like misaligned spikes due to breakage, how misaligned plates scars might be more attractive than one that's pristine because these things are so angry,
I
so ready to fight.
So I do get what you're saying, but I
Experience.
think so. You're basically saying, yeah, the scars are a sign of battle
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah,
Is
So
what you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah, it's like
yeah,
the
Okay, yeah,
Triceratops
that
in
makes
Prehistoric
sense.
Planet.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the one with the shorn down horn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one based on
Like the one
Yoshi's
that
strike.
got his yeah, the one that got his
I
like uh one of his horns like broken off or the tip.
Yeah,
mm,
but well, that's
yeah,
the
no,
one. Yeah,
I could believe it.
Yeah.
So I can, looking at these things, I can see how they would evolve from
very,
our
very
Kentrosaurus
easily.
aethiopicus. It's just runaway selection
Yes.
pressures. For
It's
the head,
basically
I'm not as sure about,
well, the head just looks ugly,
and
but
I don't
that's
think any of us are really a huge fan of the head, are we?
it's wait.
What was that?
I it's not great. I also am you might see this. I tend to be not the most judgmental when they're shrink wrapping in theropods. When it comes to the sauropods and especially ornithischians, because it's a lot more rare to see and it looks so much worse because I'm not used to seeing it. Shrink wrapping really bothers me, and goddamn, is that just so very shrink wrapped?
But are
Yeah.
are they shrink wrapped, or is it?
I mean like
I
you can
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's shrink wrapping so
like
much as just
like
like
you can
this.
see the
They have
cheekbones.
large, bony protrusions. Like you
Like
can
Actually,
you
see
can
wait,
human cheekbones.
you might be right though.
Like I think they just have really well defined bones of the skull.
I think that might actually be right. It also should have cheeks, by the way. It doesn't. It should have
yeah,
cheeks.
the lack of cheeks is
Don't they?
what probably throws us off.
I don't think
I
they do. I
I
we need
I
to.
don't know how to get them to roar, but I think they have cheeks.
Uh I wouldn't. I thought I've seen them not. If again,
No, I see tissue stretching.
yes,
They
no,
have
you're right.
cheeks.
They do have cheeks. It just the
Oh
beak
wait,
feels a bit. Feed them something.
I can feed them.
A lemon.
Yep, nope, they have
No,
cheeks.
they do have cheeks. It's just the beaks. No, that's what. It's not the
Yeah.
They
cheeks.
have
It's the
orange
beaks.
cheeks.
The beak's too long. The beak should be smaller.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's like a hawk beak.
Yeah, it's like a
It
parrot.
looks like kind of like a
Hawk.
parrot.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
big.
But
It's also hooked.
mm,
Yeah.
I,
So if we have nothing
I
else
mean,
to
it,
say,
Ooh, do we have more
well,
to
I
say?
have one last thing to say actually about the beak. I could believe that's another selective thing because, I mean, if they hit one another with these tails, one of them is going to bleed out. I could believe they use this beak for like
Yeah,
intraspecific fighting,
I would also believe
but that
that.
could just be me being a protective parent of the dinosaurs or something.
Well, that could be. I would also imagine that's why they have grown up like weird protrusions on their head.
Oh, maybe they're like just hitting each other with their heads and biting to
Basically,
I
establish
yeah.
mean,
dominance.
like their necks aren't really they don't look built for that. Like for headbutting,
I
you need like
They're
big
Well,
neck
decently
muscles.
thick.
well,
They
I
look
can
like a
headbutt
camel's
you.
neck and head, and camels smack each other with their heads.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's gonna screw you
so do
up
giraffes.
if you're trying. Yeah, but it's not really headbutting. It's more like swinging their necks at each other. And
Well,
if they
I'm not saying like
tried
ramming
like
them.
a,
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not saying they're headbutting like
Uh,
Pachycephalosaurus. I'm saying they're just smacking each other with their heads,
oh,
they're
like
using their
that, I
head as
and
can
their
like
biting, like a slap fight with their faces.
I can see that. Like slamming each other's sides with them. I can see that.
yeah. Their
Maybe
head is
that's
their
Yeah.
main
maybe that's
introspecific
why
stuff.
maybe that's where the scars come from, like those beaks.
That
I mean,
also
yeah, the
might be it.
scars are within the head height.
Yeah, that would actually explain it. Yeah,
I mean, this is all
interesting.
speculative, obviously, but
Again,
I
yes,
could see that a thing, and I kind of like that interpretation. It would
it is.
explain why they have such a robust head.
It would explain it. Yeah. I also this might be cut or not, but if it's not, we mentioned in the angler video, one of the main spec-evo things that we is that looks to be an anglerfish that has evolved to be a pursuit predator. What I might do in the background is write down all of our spec-evo theories and see if we can actually make what the Ark ecosystem properly is. Which I, since we're kind of doing that already, a cool
Yes.
idea.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
yeah,
like
that could be fun.
yeah, like actually grounded in some realism.
Ooh,
Exactly.
wait, there's a T Rex. Should I throw them at the
Okay.
T Rex while we
Yes.
rank them?
Yes we should. Yes. Agree. Yes. Murder. Commit
Why not?
murder.
Yep. We've been bullying Dom this whole time. Let's throw him a bone.
There's Deinonychus. Oh, are those hyena? Those are Hyenodon and Deinonychus down there as well on the
Yeah,
way.
Hyenodon. Well, speaking of throwing Dom a bone, Dom, what would you
Yes.
rate this fine creature?
Oh,
Or these fine creatures,
I was
rather?
actually I'd be no. Let me think from this. I was gonna say a
Sure.
high C, but no. This is mid B.
Yeah, you have until the Rex dies.
Is it mid B? Yeah, mid B. That's what I think. I like it as much as I like the not the same reasons I like the angler, but I like it as much as I like the angler. Mid B.
Huh. I mean, any more thoughts on that? The Rex isn't dead yet. Oh, wow,
Uh,
can see that reflection going.
yeah. I do like its reflection damage and arc when the Kentro was introduced because I've been recently watching a bunch of the um spotlight videos. There wasn't many small
I'm sorry,
this
I
size
don't think that
herbivores.
once. I think it died from biting them.
Yeah, no, definitely don't buy them. But there
I
weren't
Ironic.
didn't
there's many
see the screen damage
mid-sized
number.
herbivores, and there still aren't that many mid-sized herbivores that are this. There are a lot of carnivores, but it fills a niche that Ark doesn't really have.
Like a super
Yeah,
defensive herbivore.
yeah, and it's a small
Hmm.
one too that isn't like a baby.
Yeah. So you're still
All right.
thinking mid B?
Mid B, yes, I am locking that in.
All right. Gojira, how about you? While these guys tear these puppies a new one.
Well, honestly, I'll say probably like a low high C
Okay.
because I'm sorry, like even with the spec evo reasons for why they have such big tail spikes, like I don't know, like just having them so like cartoonishly big, it just feels kind of goofy to me. Like
I mean, cartoonishly big. Oh, the spikes
yeah,
cartoonishly
the
big.
spikes. Yeah, the spikes are cartoonishly big. And the plates, like the two like last pairs of plates that go right before the spikes, I feel they could be transitioned a lot better. Like the skull, like I'm not a huge fan of the. At least it does have a beak, unlike the Jurassic World Evolution Kentro, but it it feels like it's in the opposite extreme. It feels like it's like too big of a beak, and I don't know. I just feel like it could do. It feels like an animal that could fill the same role without being so over the top in exaggerating its proportions and its spikes, so I don't hate it. I do like some of the coloring on it. I do like its role in the ecosystem, and I do like its damage reflection. But as it stands, yeah, I'll give it a high C.
Well, I see my prediction was not wrong. Um, I'm torn between a high B and a low A because I really like these guys. Like, I love the damage reflection. I like how aggressive they are because herbivores can be really dangerous, and none of the other Ark herbivores are, as far as I can recall.
No.
So they have an interesting niche. They're actually pretty strong once they get to work, and I think you can do a lot of fun spec-evo hypothesizing with them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say a low A.
Oh,
Like I will be the champion for the spiky little boys. I like them.
and
That's fair.
with that,
I
as
think that equates to a B.
yes, and let me get the tier list up as I have become the tier list man.
Yes, I'll let
Yes.
them finish murdering this seagull.
Yeah.
Bleh. Ark Ragdoll.
Best thing about the game.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay, back on the
to
record. Are
find
the other
it.
ones on the Are the other ones already on the tier list?
Yep. They should in the right spots,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Seeing
for
a-
some reason the quality is really low.
Wait, is it because is it when is it fine when it's still?
Oh, it's starting to get up. It's starting to get
Okay, yeah, it's okay when it's still. I think it just starts
Okay.
getting pixelated when it's moving.
moving.
Move very slowly.
Okay, so it looks like we have another B. Another B.
But eh. Right next to the other two.
Do we think above or below Angler?
I would. I put it below Angler. I really like Angler.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, that's for well, the Angler really is just going to be our weird beloved child that none of us wanted.
I love it so
yeah.
much. Great.
Yeah. I
And
thought I was gonna hate it, but it grew on me.
yeah, and with that, let's go to the wheel.
To the wheel!
Yes, let us see what Arkosaur number 5 shall be, folks. Hope you're excited.
Woo.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed getting a little prick in your life. Makes things nice and lively. Let's see what comes next. Maybe we'll get
You
something
don't have
that
to make a
puts you to
pun
sleep.
every wheel spin.
Yes, you do.
I'm not doing it. That's not
Maybe.
my job. That's
Well, one of
yours.
us
I
does.
will be dead from the cringe by the time this ends. From all the pun.
More dinosaurs for me.
You can never escape.
Try me.
What a wonderful hell you have volunteered for.
Ow!
All right. Shall we spin?
Did you just fall?
No. Like I was trying to like creep down and then I kinda got stuck on the table.
Well, bravo. One of us almost died just now. So, let's see what creature we'll be bringing to life next week.
Ooh.
Round and round it goes.
I can't see the wheel yet, so I can't. Ooh, wait.
Is it?
Oh,
Hippocaulus. Okay.
I work with amphibians. By the point the video comes out, I will actually be working on amphibians. Hell yeah.
Yet another one you can
cool.
take point on.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I work with Triassic amphibians and Tiktaalik, so that one's a bit in between.
Ooh.
Sweet.
I work with the
Maybe
one
I
true
should put a
fish.
mod for Tiktaalik just for that.
Ooh. I'm gonna poke it with the stick. We mustn't stop human evolution. Spook the fish.
Well, folks, if you too wish to retreat into the sea before man sinned, join us next week, and hopefully it'll be something redeemable.
Redeemable, unlike his puns.
Redeemable. You can suck air out of this thing's face. Yeah.
Good night, everybody.